me how you all got into doing what you do.
Sure, yeah. So our story is basically I've always been very entrepreneurial. I had an eBay store for over 9 years, and I wanted to do something bigger. So I started like reading about tech and mobile applications in about 2018, and then by 2019 I started my own mobile app, and I was looking for developers on Fiverr.com. Had no idea what I was doing. Did not have a tech background. Had a few different dev teams. It was 2019, 2020-ish. I met Qasim through somebody else named Muhammad on Fiverr. And, finally I had somebody that actually like understood what I wanted, and they built out my mobile application for me after all this kind of like trials and tribulations. And then by the time everything was built out, it had been so delayed. I had all these different teams. And I told Cosmo, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And Cosm's like, oh, come on, man. It's a good idea. I'm like, no, 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 I don't want to do it. And he said, okay, fine. Why don't we start a company doing our services in the US? And I was like, I don't really know you, but fine. And so we, started slowly like on Upwork. We got one client. And then basically what happened was it was just at first, it was literally just Dan like on Upwork and Qasim and his team, and like now our team were running my account, wasn't doing anything. And then eventually, Qasim accidentally like they were just using a VPN from Pakistan, and they forgot to turn off the VPN or turn on like the VPN. So we got banned from Upwork, but the client called us and like, hey, we still want to work with you guys. And I'm like, holy shit, we're actually good. I'm like, let's start a company like for real. So that's what happened. It was like a pretty like large client. They had raised $15 million. Like it's one thing if I think we're good, but it's totally different if they think we're good. I'm like, this is like the real deal. So yeah, we started the company about a year and a half ago. I've been doing it full time for about 4 or 5 months. But yeah, just met through Fiverr. I guess like really a 21st century sort of business partnership. So
That's dope, bro. That's dope. Qasim, how's it like over there in Pakistan, brother? I'm assuming that's where you are currently, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Pakistan. You're right.
Okay, okay. What's the time right now over there?
Okay, so there are right now 8:34 p.m.
Okay, okay. So not having you up at the crazy hours. That's perfect. Making sure it's not no 5 a.m.,
no, but
12 a.m.
but Qasim, so he
Uh,
he works in U.S. hours, so it's like he'll be in bed at
yeah,
6 a.m. in Pakistan, and he
Mm.
wakes up at 2 p.m. I mean, he's working like the night shift. So yeah, this is still like this early morning per se.
Okay, okay. Oh shit. Okay, okay. A little bit different. A little bit different then. I like that. I like
yeah,
that. So
Yeah.
essentially, like, can you talk on like what the app was that you guys created or like what it does?
Yeah, so it was just like a fitness app. I mean, like it's no longer around, but it's like a fitness marketplace, and and that's part of the reason. Like when I always talk to people, I always like I have people pitch me all these different apps. I'm like, I do not want you to be in the situation I was. Like, do the market research, come back to me, like understand why you're building. So many people build products and start business like for other people that they think that other people need. But it's
Hmm.
like you can't do something unless there's really like demand for it. Like some things are very like, brick and mortar, like someone's gonna need like, whatever, I don't know, like a coin laundry or something that's really popular, like boring business or something like that. But it's like a lot of these like products or softwares, there's no testing. People just think, oh yeah, this is a cool idea. But it's like, no, you need to talk to potential customers. You need to have the market research. Like understand what the purpose is behind this. Like, and the best actually ideas I've seen are people that build out products for themselves. Say, hey, like this would make my life so much easier. I'm going to build this out, and hopefully other people can use it. So that's what I always tell people. Like, start there. And if I see that their idea is not good, I'm like, okay, like I don't want you to be me. I don't want you to burn $20,000. Just take a step back, do some more research, and come back to me. And if there really is demand, if you have a USP, if you have the ability to scale, like especially in the fitness space, there's so much competition. So I'm always like, okay, like what separates you from other people? Like why, and I always say like the biggest thing I've seen that works is personal brands, right? Because look, when it comes to fitness, it is a personal thing. People want to hear your story. And that's why my idea was horrible because it's like a marketplace of a bunch of different coaches. Like nobody wants that. People want to work with a particular coach. They have a great story because they have something unique to offer. Like I was actually speaking with one fitness coach recently, And I was looking at his messaging sequence, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, talk about your story. Like, your story is awesome. Like, you were scrawny and now you're built. Like, it's like that's an amazing story. Like, talk about that. Like, people want to look like you. Like, talk about that. Like, you have a story to share, and that's what you should be sharing with people. So I always tell them, like, get personal, talk about that, and that's what we try and do like for our business like as well. So
Okay. Okay, man. Like outside of Athlete Zone, I own a manufacturing facility here in the US too, in Oregon particularly. Dude, I tell people that every day. I deal with people that don't understand that throwing money to your branding. I'm all about branding, and making like the biggest investments with people's branding and helping them make the most out of it. So when I have somebody come into me and saying, I want to spend $1,000 here, I asked them like, okay, let's look at this from a perspective of some people might just let you spend that $1,000 and just take the money, but I'm always looking at how that $1,000 is going to affect you in the now, but particularly 5 years from now, and kind of going on your branding. I work with like a lot of streetwear brands, and so some people will be like, "Man, I see this brand charging 120 for this garment. I'm going to charge the same," and I'm like, "Well, like no one knows who you are; they know who they are." So we have to build that. A lot of the time, these brands are either popularized by a bunch of like social media influencers, or it's like a Danny Duncan per se, where I don't know if you guys have done much research into Danny Duncan, but looking at his story and like the overall how he's made 150 million of just like comical t-shirts like the Virginity Rocks. It's like what's another one? It's like Futz Let's or something like it's weird how he does it, but it's just it goes to show how personal branding really is the focal point, and like how you touching on, man, like in this fitness world it's a little more difficult because you have so many trainers, you have so many people with that same story. There's a lot of awesome people, so it's really hard. So there I tell people you have to come from a communal perspective. Same thing with Athlete Zone, building a communal perspective for these young kids, brands really helping them, because you might see other m- merch brands or other people doing like in the within the NIL space, but a lot of them, I'm not going to speak too much into depth and like throw shade or anything, but a lot of them are just doing cookie cutter designs. I understand that's how you maximize, optimize, and create efficiency, but really sticking out and really creating something different is what we help, or is what's going to help these kids get to that next level. But for me, man, it's all about really connecting the dots and helping people formulate a plan of action.
so if you can tell us like, a little bit more about you and your story. I mean, just how you started at Athlete Zone and kind of just how you got to where you are now.
I guess you go all the way back. I'm born and raised in San Diego, California, best city in the USA. Qasim, if you haven't been over here, man, San Diego got to be the first visit. I promise you, you won't regret it.
He's not
But
lying.
essentially,
Yeah, yeah. San Diego's amazing. Mhm.
number one place in the USA, brother. But I guess I come from a broken family. I've seen the hustle of a single mother. I've seen the hustle of a single father. That's kind of the biggest thing that's instilled in me is the hustle. As a young man, I understand that I have it easier in this world than a young woman does, but nonetheless we're here to break those barriers and we're here to conjoin them, because it doesn't matter who we are, it's all about how we can maximize and be better together. So my father ended up going to jail when I was 10 years old. That had a very big impact on my life, and I thank God for it happening. I wouldn't be right here if that never happened 10 years ago, or 13 years ago. It's May 26, 2010. Remember the date, remember everything. I was coming home from like an all-star practice, little league, and that's kind of how the sports story connects and it all coincides. Sports has been a very thorough part of my life. I think everybody should be acclimated to some type of team or some type of sports, regardless if it's competitive. Well, it has to be competitive. You're not playing anything to lose, man. We trying to do it to win or to better each other. So that's the biggest thing. And I never really had the best relationship with my mother. I was kind of thrown into living back with my mom. Living with my mom during my high school years, I think it's very vocal to tap on that young men need a mentor during their high school or during their teen years. I myself was all around and about playing sports. I found my hustle selling dogs. I really love dogs. I grew up breeding pit bulls with my family, ethically. That's one thing that I will say. What made me leave the game is that you have a lot of people kind of just breeding BS. They're breeding here today just for the money, and they're not really looking at the psychological effect that it's going to have on that family that that dog's going to be placed with. Kept going. Sports had been my baby. I was going to play D2. I wasn't good enough to play D1, but D2 Scully, it's okay. Same thing for me. I had a sciatica, and that had taken away my God given ability. So I went to SDSU for a while. I was playing on the team, ended up come really not doing my thing, man. I was partying a lot. It's easy being home. That's one thing too. Like, to people watching this, if you are a young kid, take that chance. If you are in a chance to go to college, don't stay home. Go. These are 4 years that you're never going to get back. So take it and just live, learn, and don't regret. Your family's going to be back there. The hardest part about leaving is that you miss growth, but you're growing yourself. So that's what's more important. Fast forward, ended up going to Oregon State. That's where I came from, San Diego, went to Oregon State. Ended up graduating with a degree in international business and a minor in marketing. And currently, I've been running the manufacturing facility, or during my years in college, I was part of the manufacturing facility, screen print shop, embroidery, really, really becoming a focal point in the production side of it. So understanding how to produce the garments, making it come together. And on that, while I'm all doing that, I'm running my own brand called Born Bad. Helping people with their other brand. Like, I was printing in my room, bro. So I mean, the story's endless. I guess I kind of jumped around, but from like how I got into design, I've been designing since I was 13. A couple homies back home, they would always want to make some t-shirts. I'd be the kid to make it happen. My pops was very creative. My pops a tattoo artist. So it's kind of always been instilled in me to be creative. I just chopped off my green hair, but a big focal point of me is I always have colored hair to show kids that you can get paid to be creative, go out and chase your dreams. Yeah, man, but realistically, I'm probably one of the youngest people you'll talk to. I'm only 24. Man, and really trying to create something that's bigger than me. And I think that's the biggest point that we're here to make, or that if I can stress enough, that with business, kind of how you talked about in the 21st century, meeting Qasim, dude, I get more love from people I don't even know on the internet than people I know back home. Like, that's just the way the world is, and it's okay. People are gonna see it lame or cool because it's you, until some other people pick up traction, then they'll be like, okay, cool. It's that being the first one, or there's a certain terminology from it, but it's the fear of being that first one. And it's okay. We're here to break those barriers.
100%. I would say, and that's awesome that you're so young and you like have this mindset, because I feel like so many people today think that success happens overnight, but it doesn't. It takes a lot of work and like a lot of effort. And the biggest thing I always tell people, like, it's all about consistency. It's doing the same thing every day and being consistent, setting a goal. Like for us, I think Alex Ramosi talks about top twos. Like we do it every day. We have our team meetings, say, okay, here's our top twos. Like, like Cosmo holds me accountable, I hold him accountable. We have other people on our team that are on this call. We all keep each other accountable to make sure that we're meeting our top twos, because otherwise we're not going to get anything done. We're not going to be successful. And those things are
Hmm.
really important for us. I guess right now I would ask, how are you finding your customers? Like, how are you getting like the word out about your brand?
It's really subjective to how you ask that. There's many different platforms, but essentially, like on the Athlete Zone platform, I'm collecting athletes. It's on the athlete to sell. So realistically, the athlete is how we're finding our customers, because the athlete themselves are out marketing themselves. I guess one of the big things that we may run into, or that some people may find issues in this current age, is these kids are busy, man. You can't just come in here and expect them to know exactly how to sell a business. So there's a little bit of coaching involved. Another part of how we're staying tied is, like, we're national co-branded, or we're like, we have licensing to print collegiately, or however you would say that. But we can print on a national level. We have the licensing capabilities too. So that's like one of the biggest ways that we're able to really lock in and help these kids solidify it. But the biggest thing is that it's the kids and the athletes bringing it home.
So in terms of reaching kids and athletes, obviously, I mean, you're in Oregon, but it's, you guys mostly focusing on athletes locally in the state, or do you travel, or like, I mean, what's the best way to reach people in terms of 2023?
Instagram, dude. Like, I mean, I'm locked in across the board. I got a lot of homies across the nation that are really tapped in there that have played collegiate sports, so they have some strong hands and strong ties back to where they're at. But realistically, I find a couple of kids, or I find people that I like, that I want to support, that I want to help, and it just kind of snowballs from there, because the kids that you want to help, I'm locked in with them. Then my team is focused on helping the other individuals to help them get up, because we all have like our core guys. We're all family. That's the big thing. We're pushing a family culture. But no, man, it's Instagram, hitting them up, just hitting up the emails. It's kind of like being young and just connecting with them. I think that's my biggest advantage on a lot of people. It's, I know the lingo, I know how to talk it. And then they hop on a phone call and they're like, oh, they see me. So it's like it's a little bit different.
Right. But so I guess like besides being young and being able to connect, like what would you say is like the USP? Like if an athlete sees Athlete Zone, like what is all like, all the value that you're providing for them? Like can you kind of go more into detail like what that would look like for a college athlete?
So what it looks like working with Athlete Zone is we're here to give you that Nike S, that Jordan feel. We're partnered with Nike, we're partnered with Adidas, we're partnered with Carhartt, like from our manufacturing facility. So we have the partnerships, we have that to get you there, but we want you to build that branding up to where a Nike comes and hits you up like on your own. We provide marketing materials, we provide a whole design team catered to the athletes, that if they have highlight film, they need a highlight clip, send it to us, we'll make it happen. If they have film or they have photos that they need edited, send it to us, we make it happen. If they have ideas for their brand, send it over to us, make it happen. On our end, with Athlete Zone, the big thing that we're selling, or the big thing that individuals come to us and see a highlight of, is our connections, who we are, the fact that we have that national co-branding or that national licensing. And they know that they're going to get taken care of. They're taking a shot on me, so they know that we're going to be working. They know that we're going to be doing our thing and what we can. But essentially, it's all about connecting. There are people that would love to work with us, but we're just not the right fit internally. So it's hard to say. But the easiest thing and the most blankest thing is working with Athlete Zone. You have a partner to help you tell your story and help you push your story, market yourself. A majority of it comes on the individual themselves wanting to work and market themselves. We're here to coach them along the way, but that is the beauty of Athlete Zone, that it is an agreement. These athletes don't have to put any money up front. So it's like, let's work, let's make it happen. And then they have the opportunity. Some of our top sellers doing over 20, 30K throughout their like duration on Athlete Zone. So that's like a year. We've been around a year. So there's about 3 athletes that have tapped that. Tony Salinas being one of them. He's not even at a Power 5 school. So that should show you the type of traction that can be built when it's built bigger than you. But it's all about helping these kids understand how to be an entrepreneur. So that's another factor to where I think that these kids would like it. It's just experience-based growth.
Great. But by the way, you are doing all these things for a cause, I believe, more than your business. So yeah, in terms of like you're helping homies. So have you ever reached other officials where you can like help them to start, like if you can help your homies to start their own business, or maybe they may get some job, some sort of job somewhere. So are you doing something like this as well?
I guess to answer that, Q, regardless, when we're working together and creating the vision and creating the brand, I keep it real. I asked them, what are we setting this up for? Are we setting this? What's your goal? How can we do this? At the end of the day, brother, I do all of this, and that's because of who I am and just where it's at. My skill set and my mastership is in branding and creating the clothing. If they're looking to make an LLC or create a business, I have mentors and I have connections that I'll pass to the homies. In reality, at the end of the day, I know my lane.
Mm.
I'm not gonna really grow it. I'll sit there until, but if they're really going to make it happen, I'll connect them with people that I use for my businesses, that I use for growth. But when we're creating the visions, we're creating a 5-year plan. So it's like if they're a freshman and they're starting, or if they're a freshman and they're starting out on Athlete Zone, we're looking at, okay, over the next 4 years, how can we help you create your brand? And then by year 4, how
Mm-hmm.
can we maximize you for life after? So life after college. So it's either they're going for their dream and they're chasing that pro, or just plat they're choosing they're choosing to do different, make a difference, as they feel like their choice or their shot may not be there anymore. Their God-given ability or God-given opportunity may not be still there.
Yeah.
We're looking at how we can help them. So if there's an athlete that's looking at they're a junior and they're like, okay, man, like I might not, let's be real, man. My goal is to make it, but I'd love to have that plan B. We all talk about there is no plan Bs, but some guys pencil it out, make it happen, and then they still they make that plan A happen, and then they go and make that plan B happen too. So they're really taking advantage of the system. I hope that answers kind of what you were asking.
Okay, so by the way, for the, for this thing, you can make some. You can take the help of technology as well. Like you can make some sections for them, where you may you may let the other people know, like this is what you are doing, and they may support them. Like I know I have seen many platforms as well, and I know people are willing to support, but they are not able to find the right person who is
Mm-hmm.
who is not fraudulent.
On God,
and,
bro.
and, and simple words. And simple words. So yeah, so people, but still people are there are a lot of people who are willing to donate, who are willing to invest. In fact, this is a good investment. If I'm going to donate something, it would be a good investment for me. If I can help a homie by sitting on my chair. You are in the field, you have energies. I might don't have that much energy at this time because you are the young guy. You have energy. You have a good time. Like you still have many years of your life full of energy. You can do a lot. You can do a lot, and this is good to know. Like you started this very early, like in this age, you're doing all these things. So I believe you should have some section where you can encourage people to donate for these homies, where you are helping them. You are already helping them, and they what they just have to do is just to donate by sitting on the chair. Their money is utilized well in this case. You get my point? But yes, I'm convinced with this shortcut call, like that you are doing good work on a cause more than a business. So there will be a lot of people who will be convinced with few of your posts and few of your words on your website, maybe a couple of stories, maybe if you may have a blog section in your website where you can add articles, how you help them, how you help the a kid, who you help the a poor aged person, or maybe how you found a talent in some homie who even didn't know that he had a talent. He's an athlete. You came to know he's an athlete. I can fit it somewhere. So I believe this may help you a lot in whatever you're doing in your daily things. So like this is just a suggestion, obviously. But it came in my mind randomly just while I was listening to you. So think about it.
Yeah, no, dude, it's I have all these ideas of where we're going to take the brand. But in conception year 1, the blogs, AI, baby. I don't know, you guys probably use AI every day. I think AI is a game changer for what I do in terms of, beefing it out and putting that type of content on there. It's just it's resources and money. We do have a team dedicated to Athlete Zone where we have dedicated project manager, dedicated designer, dedicated marketing team, and dedicated production facility that we're partnered with. But it's just time in a day. It's really, I think Dan said it earlier, it doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I can live by is like, dude, I'm young. I want it to happen overnight. And that was like thinking at 19, 20, because I do a lot of stuff on my own time. But at 19, 20, I was already thinking like this. So now I'm 24 and it's slowly starting to happen. And like, that's why. So like with the blogs, dude, like I would love to have it, but it's like, how can I make it appealing to, not even appealing, how can I add it to my daily schedule, without putting it on to somebody else. It's we're getting to the point where we can start growing the brand. Where would you say? I would say like across like this to where we can beef up our team. The process wise, we vertically integrated or just very we understand our process. Now it's time to
Mhm.
start spreading out and getting those people to make one, our stuff look really cool. Two, really, really start to go. One thing that we've been using is virtual assistants. We have a virtual assistant who does everything on our website. And like that is something that I want to add. It's just slow rolling it because I don't want to give people too much responsibility too fast, because I think the biggest thing that Dan talked about earlier, he nailed on it: consistency. You want them to be consistent, 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 consistent to where they feel like, okay, I'm ready for that next step. And we know in business, we want them to grow. It's either do or do not, right? But in some cases, it's all about let's get consistent. Let's build this. Okay. All right, cool. We got these 20 tasks in line. You ready for the next five? Or what are the next five? Let's do 25 now. Because sometimes, in most cases, after COVID, you give someone 25, you get somebody starts off with 20 items and their daily task. After they've mastered those 20, you give them five more. What I've seen as of late, or what I've seen in my industry, is you'll give them they'll have 25 tasks total. They'll drop five that they were already doing previously, and then they just focus on that new five and then the 15 others that they liked. So it's kind of finding that equilibrium and balance, because if I had a bunch of homies, it's different to say homies and all this and that. But if I had a lot of friends that would be willing to just be like, yeah, I can work free, bro, it'd be different. It'd be different. But you want everybody to be paid their worth. And right now, it's just like I have friends that are like, bro, I'll come work for you and I'll make it happen. And I love them. Any way I can help them. You talk about, if I can help them or make an investment, help them build their businesses on other realms. Let's wheel and deal here. And that's where I appreciate the homies coming and helping this brand and this and that. But like for everybody on the athlete zone side, all of these young men and women, their family, their brothers and sisters, we try to help them coach. One thing I can say myself is that I'm trying to be better at is I don't want to be like their mom or dad and hit them up, bug them. But I understand it's a relationship building, and they need to know that I got their back. But at the same time, I just need to know their schedule, how it is. It's the 21st century and the digital era is kind of different. People are on their phones 24/7, so you don't want to be annoying in a way. It's just you want to be cool. I'm trying to be that helping hand, and we have individuals that are really allowing us to create and build. So that's kind of what I've turned to LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, I've tried to be like the blog building site to where like I can connect. Maybe this Q, you can speak to this, like backlinking stuff, like to where you just create a blog and that blog, it looks nice, and then it takes them to LinkedIn or something like that. Like those are things that I can see. Trying to create automation, I feel like, is the most important thing in what I do, dude.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, by the way, I'm living my lifelong dream. So I thought like one day I will be an entrepreneur, and started my career. When I started my career, obviously I started my career with a job, and afterwards I I always dreamed to be an entrepreneur, and finally in 2016, I became an entrepreneur. So I have seen many stages. Like I have seen good days, I have seen bad days, many times. Right. So, but what I learned is consistency is a good thing. Obviously, consistency is an essence, is a secret sauce, obviously. But there's another secret sauce as well: innovation. If your innovation is going to stop, your growth will be going to stop. So you need to grow day by day by innovation. This is a good idea. Automation, you should go for the automation, obviously, indeed. And I believe you must have many volunteers who can work for you. Like this is what I believe. You must have many volunteers.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah. I mean, like for us, like what we do and how I kind of got started for myself is like even now, it's like we're a startup. Like I have people, friends of mine who it's like they want to help out, but they work for free, but it's on a commission basis. So it's like if we use like their LinkedIn or whatever or something, and like we like book a client, I give them a cut. I give them like a rev share. So it's like it's not like just free, like but it's like it's kind of like a mutual thing because like I have friends of mine who are like in the space, and I'm like, hey, just post us like in this channel on your Slack chat, like in your network, and they'll post us. And then if we land a client from there, like I'm like, okay, I'll give you 10% or like whatever percentage. Because and that's like, okay, like it takes them 2 seconds, just post it. They have a huge network, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, why not? And it's like a mutual thing. So
Nah, bro, that's like another way to do it too. Like, hey, I scratch the finder fees. What we
exactly,
call it,
exactly.
what we call that. But essentially, like, it's I would say like because I want to pay my friends what they're worth, or like I
Right.
have homies that are badass doing what they do, and I'll make it happen. Sometimes you got to pull from your own. You got the business account, and then you got the personal. You got to pull from the personal to make it happen. And there's times where I've done that time in and time out. To where I see it just, and it's all about, I just have so much respect for my friends and their skill set that it's like, man, but there's other ways. That's why we talked about we help them launch their brands and their businesses or give them that back end or that insight to where they can get really like logos or we're building the whole branding assets impact like that, dude. But I think the biggest thing is just staying consistent and accountable. You said in 2015 2016 you became an entrepreneur. I feel like you have a lot of wisdom to give. If you can go back and tell that young kid, when you started at your career, what's one thing that you would tell them? Basically what I had
Right.
asked is you said you it had been a lifelong dream to
Yeah.
become an entrepreneur, and back in 2015 2016 you said that dream became
Yeah.
real. What now, currently, where you're at right now, what would you tell that young Qasim?
That was an ambitious guy. That was an aggressive and ambitious guy. I was aggressive, very aggressive. I had a lot of allergies.
I would say
Man.
no, but it's like I would say. I mean, in Cosmic, it's like you can add. Like early in Cosmic's career, he was doing too many things. He had a restaurant at one point. He was doing this. It was like he was trying to do too many things at once, and he shut down his restaurant and just is focusing on this. And it's like I would say, Cosmic, you can add to this, but I would say that I think what you learn is to focus on one thing and be really freaking good at it. Because it's like if you're doing so many
Yeah,
things, you're never going to be really good at something. Because if you're doing, it's like you need to just like find your one thing, your one company, and really focus on it, become an expert, like whatever your niche is. It's like, with this restaurant, with this, it's like it's just, he's one person. How many hours in the day do you have? Plus, he's, it's like a family kid. So it's like, you need to make sure that you have your priorities aligned. I mean, Cosmo, I guess that you can speak to that as well from your side.
yeah. I earned a lot from the software development field, and I spent a lot of money on restaurant and didn't earn even a penny. I learned everything over there. But that was within the business time, like that was 2017 to 2021. So within this time, I spent a lot of money on restaurants. And after this, in 2021, I realized, okay, that's it. No, I have to do only one thing. and and I again came back to software. Obviously, software development was my software development was going on along with it. But at that time, obviously, I was working on two things, but working on two completely different things, or even two things, uh, is too much difficult. It's too much difficult. You are not going to give like no, you're not going to give 100% to any of the things, even
Mhm.
not a 50% properly. Even if you are trying to give 50% to one thing, then your maybe 20-30% will be consumed on the halfway, and you will not be going to give remaining 50% to the other thing. So there is a wastage of transition
Mhm.
from one thing to the other. There's a wastage as well in your daily time, in your daily routine. So obviously we need to take care about it. So the simple thing is do one thing that you can do better, that you can do best, and keep focused on it.
Okay, okay, okay. I like that
Awesome.
answer.
Yeah, and just to wrap this up, I guess I would say, Johnny, just from your side, like, what's your message to everybody watching? It's like, you're young, you're doing this, like, this is awesome, but it's like, what advice do you have for, kids who are in high school who want to aspire to one day be like in your position?
Don't take no. I guess there's thousands of things I can sit here and say, man. I'm a stubborn, hard-headed kid. But before I like go into that, I would love to continue the conversation with you guys and build a relationship and be
Sure,
able to
yeah.
bounce ideas off you guys. Qasim, I want to know, do you have plugs to the print and sew industry out there or cut and sew industry? like
Yeah.
any manufacturing facilities? Because like I have some work that I would love to partner with you and throw you some bones if you can make a connection to help me make it happen. But to the
Yeah.
kids, to well, I guess to the many different people watching this, it's never too late to start. Go after go if you got a dream, go after it. If somebody tells you no, okay. I think so many people around this current day and age are um, seeking other people's opinion and validation for what they're doing and that they needed to know that they have support. I think if you have a good support system, if you have people dedicated to helping you grow, it'll happen. Failure is going to be life's biggest teacher, man. Any don't anytime you get knocked down, it's all about how you get back up. Being really out there and just transparent. I've been life's thrown me on my ass, but what matters most is how you get back up. And I think more people learn in the get back up stages because we get so comfortable or we just get so relaxed in the current day and age and we don't realize what we can go out and how Qasim said is once your innovation or once what's in here goes, you go, your soul goes. The day I stop chasing my dreams, the day I lose my soul.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys for the time today, man. But I would love to follow up and really make
Yeah,
something happen.
yeah. So just and Qasim, I guess he can follow back up with you, but he definitely has some connections with shirts, and it's funny because we just spoke with somebody right before you. Her manufacturer's in Pakistan. She's like, I want to go there. It's like I'm just doing only Pakistan because it's high quality, it's good pricing. So yeah, for sure, we can definitely. I mean, Qasim can follow up with you on that. I guess like last question I have for you. So in terms of like, because we're a software company, right? So in terms of like your website, how did you build it? Like, where did you find people? I guess like we're always curious about that. Like, what did you use, for the athletes on website?
So we're running Magento on the back end.
Mhm.
Realistically, my business partner, my co-founder, and my mentor, he's a wizard when it comes to building websites, software management, server creation, and all that.
Nice.
That's another guy you guys will have to want to lock in with, pick his brain, or have an interview with. But
Yeah.
realistically, it's all in-house. We use Magento as a back end or as our interface. I love Magento. That's what Nike and Jordan, current big people in our space use, but Magento all the way or nothing. But with what you guys do, I think the biggest thing is lead generation maybe or or just automation and optimization. Maybe one way we could work together is creating like a warehouse procedure, like something like a flow. I think that's the most important thing is connecting the dots from someone ordering online to the production warehouse, being able to optimize and to create that automation through like software. I think those are things that we can really grow, or like tracking KPIs and stuff like that. I know you guys can speak a lot to this, and I know we got to wrap this up, but I think we have conversations to be had in regards to some stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that we've actually seen in terms of trends is that, a lot of our clients are implementing blockchain capabilities. Like people are paying with crypto wallets for their products. It's something
Really?
that very few e-commerce brands have, but the ones that have it, it definitely helps them scale because there's so many people today, especially like in developing countries, they're using blockchain or they're using crypto because their currency is so unstable. So that's something that we've seen. And I think 95% of e-com brands still don't accept crypto payments, but it's like it's growing at a very rapid rate because it's just that's where the market's headed, and they're just to kind of keep up with the time. So we've seen that for like a lot of our clients, we've implemented those kinds of solutions for them. So
Nah, bro, that's smart because I mean the American dollar, I believe we're going to digital currency by the end of this month, I think, or I think it already started, but
right,
scary times,
yeah,
scary times.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, we can definitely chat and reconnect and maybe talk more sometime later this week. And if you want to bring in your partner, just to kind of get more into like the technical discussions and just kind of exchange some more ideas, like I'd be open to that.
Yeah, bro, I would love to work. You guys seem cool. Like, not even seem cool. Y'all are cool, man. The energy in the room or the energy on the Zoom's cool, man. I think there's stuff to learn, and I think that respectively, I'm a firm believer in stuff happens for a reason. So we're on this call for a reason today. Let's make something happen from it, man.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, like let's reconnect later this week. Just let me know, I guess, your availability and for your partner's availability, and we can all chat like the four of us.
Cool. Cool. I got you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Qasim. I
Thanks.
appreciate you guys. Hey, 1% better every day, man. That's what we push for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, y'all. See y'all.
Thank you.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.